Over the years, I've watched dozens of blues, jazz, country music kind of documentaries, and I've learnt a lot. On this video, I'd like to share with you what I think are the 5 most interesting ones. So we'll start at number 5 and work down to what I believe is the number 1 documentary. I will put the links below in the comments so you can find these videos and you can watch them and learn. So at number 5, I think this is a really good general documentary just to lead you from that very early days of drum and fife music. Field hollering and how that developed into commercial blues.
But I think Blind Blake had more influence on most people around where I grew up in, and my Uncle Jeffers, he went just stone crazy when he heard Blind Blake's Black Dog Blues.
All my life I've been a traveling man.
He's the greatest guitar finger picker I'd ever heard on record.
And the electric blues of people like Buddy Guy and B.B. King.
You know I don't find my baby. People, I'm going down to the bowling
I would say if you're somebody just wanting to generally understand how blues has developed, this is a great documentary. It's from 2003. It's by Jan Levy. And it's, basically about an hour, and that's all it takes to really learn the history. So at number 4, we've got Minnie the Moocher and many more. This is from 1983. It's a relatively new discovery for me as this one, and there's lots of reasons why I love this and think you might want to see it. The first thing is that it's about Cab Calloway, who really was one of the big entertainers in the 1930s. He led great popular swing bands and had huge hits. What's really great about this documentary is it was filmed in 83 and it shows you around Harlem in 1983. It's run down. It's probably a very different place from what it was in the 30s and certainly what it is now. But what it intersperses with is Cab Calloway, first of all, meeting people on the street and being regarded as a hero.
You a legend. You a legend. If you wasn't a legend, they wouldn't be here on the road. You wouldn't be here filming it. That's right. Take it easy. Yeah, how do you say that thing again? Hidey high. Yeah,
It also works really well because there's some great footage of the nightclubs and the scene that was around in the 1930s. So when you read in the Robert Johnson books about him going to Harlem and going around New York, you can picture blues guys that would have wanted to see these jazz artists. They would have aspired to be entertainers with their name in lights in Harlem. And you're getting a whole glimpse into that era and that world and what drove lots of our favourite blues musicians to become the musicians that they became. Some of the later stories really show Cab Calloway's just decency as a human, the things he had to endure on the road with musicians, the racism, and the dignity that he had just to rise above it and be a consummate professional. I mean, I was very influenced by the Blues Brothers film growing up as a kid. And he's in there. And to think that that man had a career that lasted 50, 60 years, it really is incredible. Before we get to number 3, do help me and Jack in return. We are the Washboard Resonators. Like, subscribe, comment, it really helps. Also, join our mailing list. Go to the description below and you'll find a link. Thank you. So at number 3, we've got Mississippi Delta Blues from 1979. Now, technically, this isn't a documentary, but I think we can leave it in here because it has lots of backstage footage and footage which you won't see anywhere else. So the film is based around a festival that was held in Mississippi in 1979. The great Chess Records producer and bass player, Willie Dixon, is the sort of show host.
I think blues are a sad song. It can be sad, it can be glad, it can be happy, and it can be mad. These are the facts of life.
And there is a fantastic range of artists. Some artists you will have heard of, and some you will have never heard of that are worth discovering.
I've been out south, it says I've been out east. I've been out
personally for me, I love the Mississippi Shakes. They're one of my favourite bands from the 1930s. There's some fantastic footage on here of Sam Chapman.
Gonna look like a monkey when you get old. Gonna look just like a monkey when you grow old. I'm killed by your knees. You've been climbing coconut trees. Gonna look just like a monkey when you get old.
Quite elderly at this point, but he's singing with such passion, and you can just get a glimpse of what it would have been like back in the 1930s when he was in his 20s. Another incredible performance on this is Boyd Rivers singing You've Got to Take Sick and Die.
You got to take sick and die one of these days. You got to take sick and die one of these days.
The guy has a voice and a guitar sound which is just, devilish for somebody who was essentially singing spiritual music. So at number 2 from 2013, we have Blues America, Woke Up This Morning. This is a BBC production, and to me this does what the BBC does at its very best. It's 2 one-hour parts. It goes into incredible detail. So if you liked the Blues Story documentary, the first one I shared, because you liked the history, this does the same thing, but it is so much more involved, and it gives you so much footage that you'll have never, ever, ever, ever seen before.
Well, I just found out my trouble just begun.
From the start, the blues spoke in the first person, talking about moving on and leaving your troubles behind.
I'm going down in New Orleans.
I think this documentary does a fantastic job of showing Alan Lomax's role in going around the south of America in the 30s and the 40s and preserving these artists and telling their story and making their recordings available. I think this is a really great thing for this documentary. There's also a really good thing. Jerron Blind Boy Paxton pops up on this. He's somebody that we've done gigs with, and he's playing a guitar which I very nearly bought off him. I might after this have to get in touch and see if he's still got it for sale. A nice old Kalamazoo Gibson.
It's a long, long lane, ain't got no end. It's a long, long lane, ain't got no end.
So at number 1, we have You See Me Laughing, The Last of the Hill Country Bluesmen. And it's from 2002, and Fat Possum Records made this documentary. So why is this here? Well, I feel this is the best documentary because whereas the other ones told us, took us on a journey through the history of blues, this one drops us into the actual day-to-day life of blues artists.
I'll find out the date.
Please do, because we got a couple of shows. We'll make sure that
Let me know, The 26th, we're going to fly out for one day to Denver.
Denver, Colorado.
Just one day. We'll leave on Friday, come back on Saturday. You'll be gone less than 24 hours. You'll make some good money. At least $3,000.
That's a big one.
If you don't make that one, Matthew and I are both going to get...
There's footage in here of some of the juke joints where I think it would be the same in 2002. It would probably be the same today in 2022. It would have been the same in 1962, the same in 1937 when Robert Johnson was coming through that part of the world, probably the same in 1902.
I say I do, baby.
You're seeing these very slapdash places. They're trying to dance, they're trying to have fun, there's probably some trouble going down, a lot of alcohol, and you're seeing for real the places that made this simplified dance music, blues music, be able to take hold. Fat Possum as a label deal a lot in sort of rock and roll, roots, alternative kind of acts. And the artists that they're featuring here, you've got incredible people like R.L. Burnside. You've got Junior Kimbrough.
Well, I'm sorry.
30, I'm 30 right now.
You've got C. Del Davis.
Why is there so many fat women here in Pine Bluff? Now you can go to Chicago, place like that, or New York. You can go to New York, you don't see very many fat people. Maybe they're there, they don't be out.
And you've got T. Model Ford.
And I say, Lord, I guess this is it. I went on crossover, got my chair, and I recently got my guitar. And I sit down there by the heater, and I look back over there in that bed at that guitar. I said, well, Lord, I'm gonna play this motherfucker.
So I think this documentary gives you a great just taste of what blues music is about and the culture that spawned blues music. I think if you can get a sense of what goes on in this documentary, then even if you're someone now in all other parts of the world with different cultural references, you should be able to get a little sense of the grit, energy, and the attitude that's needed to play blues properly. There we go then. So we have finished. Do tell us of any documentaries you think we should have added. Like, subscribe, comment. It really helps us, the Washboard Resonators. Do tell us what other videos you might like to see in the future. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye for now.